guys, so today I wanted to take an opportunity to talk about fear, both with living in an RV, either by yourself, living in an RV with your kids, because, you know, doing this, you're going to totally traumatize your kids. But I know what you're thinking in your head. You're like, oh, maybe if I was by myself, but my kids. And so I want to talk about that, and even if it's travel, full-time travel, but just how you overcome that fear, because naturally you're going to be feeling some things like, what if I really like mess up their lives? What if things happen, accidents happen while you travel? What if you're living your RV and it breaks down? All these different fears are totally natural, and they enter our mind too along the way. But I thought it was very fitting that I'm going to start working on our dishes at the same time as this, because think about little things like fear. What if I remodel my entire RV, get it where I want it, put in a sink, and the water won't run? And that's where we are right now. It sucks because we've been living here for about 6 weeks without running water. We can't, if it runs, then like the whole floor soaks. The pipes are broken, I guess. So fear is a natural part of life no matter what. But if you have, everything comes down to mindset, right? So if you have the right mindset about it, you'll be like, well, okay, so we boil water. We literally go and fill. Every time we have to do dishes, we fill 2 of these. I heat the water really hot and then wash them. Plus, I don't have much space to work with, so it's like, oh man, we'll do it in shifts. I'll get all the clean glasses washed, and then we'll come back and do all the silverware and then all the plates, and you just have to find ways of making it work. So the same thing goes for if you're RVing. If you decide just you and your significant other want to live in an RV, and it's like, wow, it's exciting, but what if I don't know where to go? What if I can't find a campsite? What if I'm bored? What about health? That one comes up a lot of times, like, oh, Ben, what about health insurance? What if I'm in a different state? And there's all these natural fears. And so there's only really there's no way to not be scared. There's no way to, like, I can't tell you, you're never going to have a time when you need health insurance and you're in a different state or another country, get travel insurance. But I have the friends that were on our video a couple weeks ago. Right now they're at LAX. They had tickets to fly to Costa Rica today. Well, they showed up and with 4 kids, and their flight was canceled. And they weren't even offered like another flight. They were just like, sorry, too bad. So it's not about avoiding fear. It's about having the right mindset when you go into those situations. And the right mindset means, why are you doing it in the first place? So for me this morning, my 3 oldest went with me to yoga. My younger 2 are playing with other kids in the campground. We get to work on our blog today. I'm not on a time schedule. For me, being time rich and having movement in my day was huge. So I'll boil water. It's a pain, whatever, you know, you saw our last video about, you know, we might move into a 5th wheel, but you adapt. So you have to not worry about avoiding the fear. Instead, make your intention big enough that you can overcome those fears. The big thing with kids, because it's one thing when it's you, like I said. I mean, if Victor and I were just doing this by ourselves, it would be so easy. But then we have a saying, happy wife, happy life. Well, it's the same happy mom. If I feel secure in my desire to, okay, we're going to live in an RV, or we're going to travel here, or we're going to go do this hike, my kids are going to jump on board. They're usually right there. So if I'm a little hesitant, or if I'm reluctant, or if I'm really worried, they feel it. They manifest it in their own lives in different ways, but it makes a big difference. So if you're, as a parent, if you're like, you know what, I'm choosing this, more than likely you're going to choose this because you want to be time rich. You want to be able to go and explore. You want to create memories. You have good intentions. You're not doing it because you're like, oh, I think some people really like that don't agree with what we're doing think that we're torturing our kids by showing them this lifestyle. They just see the walls and the lack of space and lack of running water and think like, wow, you're ruining your kids' lives. And I feel bad for them because it couldn't be the furthest from the truth. Like, I'm giving them the opportunity for 1, exploration. They're getting to literally see the world. 2, for time in their days to reflect and discover what their interests are. And you're hopefully applying it to their life and saying like, okay, take what I've shown you, take what you're interested in, and do something with it. And that's rad, right? If we had a whole world of kids that were raised to be open-minded, to pursue their passions, and to be hardworking, because then the last part it says like, we all have to pitch in. This is not going to be my only time of dishes today. I'll do them once. Isabelle usually pitches in and does them another time during the day. Danny does them occasionally, but we've been trying to take over his shift because he hates doing the dishes and he doesn't do them thoroughly. So, the RV, it's trash. This is us in the middle of the day. I show you well, it's not that messy. I always have computers out, but by the time breakfast is over and stuff, it's a mess in here. So with your kids, how do you make it so that they're getting those experiences? So besides, okay, take them in an RV and make sure they're getting out. Make sure. I know there's some people who live in this RV park and their life pretty much with kids. It's okay. But it's centralized to this destination or this location, and that can be rad too. But the more you give them more variety in their experience, the hardship pays off. So you don't want to make it too comfortable. If it's too comfortable, your fear is that they're going to be uncomfortable, but it's when they're uncomfortable that they learn the best lessons. So sometimes if you can just flip the mindset there and think about how, oh yeah, it's uncomfortable. Okay, whatever. You don't have water, or you have to walk across the street at 6 a.m. to go to the bathroom because our toilets aren't working or something. Then that's okay. They're gonna get good qualities out of that. Okay, so living in an RV to downsize purely for financial reasons is awesome. It's great, but I wouldn't recommend. If you can, do it for the reason of intention besides just financial. Like, do it for an internal motivation of wanting more out of life, more, and make sure your kids see that. Like, hey, we live in small spaces, but we're flying to France next week. Or, hey, we live in small spaces, but let's go to Disneyland for the weekend because we're saving so much money. It's hard to just be purely about sacrifice. So direction can take you a lot of different ways, right? For us, we love to road trip, and it's great when we're in the RV park. We work on our blogs. We love because we get to go to yoga a lot. We climb at our climbing gym. We get different things, but like for us, for me at least, and most of the kids, 2 months. All right, that's good. Now let's move again. Let's go explore. So living in an RV with kids, yes, it's totally doable. One, have some direction. Make sure there's a reason, a purpose. If you're doing it to be time rich and spend more time with them, then make it fun. Make sure you're enjoying that time, and don't complicate it by saying, okay, we're going to live in an RV and I'm going to homeschool. And so all of a sudden you add two factors, like we're living in an RV and I don't know what that beeping noise is. Don't want to add in the fact that, oh, we're kids, guess what, we're moving into an RV and I'm going to homeschool you, and the worst thing you could do is try to like actually sit and homeschool them for 8 hours. Just enjoy being with them. Just talk. Just read books together. Depending on their age, either read to them or read a common book. Just have dialogue, things like that to talk about. If you're going to have a trip, involve them in planning the trip. Try not to cover up unconventional thoughts with conventional actions. If you're going to want to be different, be different. It's okay. Like, you'll find your own path. There's so many different ways to do it. So I totally encourage you, if you have the desire to live in an RV with kids and you're worried, try to acknowledge the fear, but hone in on what that inner desire, what that inner intention is. Stick with it. Times are going to be hard. You're going to feel tight spaces at times, no water at times, sitting still too long. But if it comes from the right place, it'll absolutely be a good decision.